Hello everyone and welcome back to Sendik's Weather channel. Today we are looking at the latest developments regarding Storm Floris, which has been named just recently by the Met Office, which is going to affect the UK on Monday, maybe into the early hours of Tuesday for many parts of the north. So we're talking about Northern Ireland, Northern Scotland, the central belt, the northwards of Scotland really, particularly in the northwest, moving northeastwards as it moves through. But as always, the devil's in the detail. So we're going to have a look at a few model scenarios today, just to see what they are showing. So we're going to be focusing on Storm Floris today. It's going to be primarily on this, because obviously there could be some quite big impacts from this. There have now been warnings issued for it as well, which is quite early really for the Met Office to be issuing yellow warnings. So if we'll have a look at the latest GFS run, this is where it has Storm Floris positioned. So it has it over the far north of Scotland. You can see 992 millibars at its core, which is quite strong, and that could also produce some strong winds. But if we think about where this would affect mostly, it would be the central belt of Scotland northwards, really. But as it's moving through, as you can see through Monday, you can see it's sat out in the Atlantic, and with the winds in from the southwest, could be producing a few impacts for particularly Northern Ireland, which is why there's also been a warning issued there. Obviously, the devil's in the detail. There is a lot of variation between model runs, but you can see at 6 a.m, now 6 a.m. on Monday, you can see the far north of Northern Ireland would be getting affected by Storm Floris. You can see as it moves through as well as GFS run, it deepens before it moves into the North Sea. So we could see some quite strong winds there. If we have a look actually at the wind gusts, it's showing quite strong winds. So definitely could be some impacts with this. You can just see as it clears into the North Sea, the winds are slightly stronger, so don't discount the back edge. So the northeast could see some really strong wind impacts as well. So it's definitely something to watch out for. Now that's just one run. We've got plenty. So if we have a look at the Icon model run next, you can see again that it's a very similar track to the GFS, albeit slightly further southwards. So you can see there might be more impacts for even the Republic of Ireland, and maybe even parts of Northern England as that clears through. I expect it to be a very windy day, particularly in the north. The reason I know that is because of the isobars. You can see they are quite tightly packed, particularly in the north, but not also further south in those westerly winds, northwesterly winds. So many parts of the country from central Britain northwards could see quite a windy day, especially through the midday on Monday. You can see that at the centre of that low, 988 millibars. So slightly deeper, slightly more developed. This would produce impacts again for particularly central Scotland northwards. Most affected probably the northwest. As that clears through into the North Sea, you can see still some strong winds on the back edge of that area of low pressure or Storm Floris as it moves through. If we look at the GEM next, again, Storm Floris a little bit later, arrives a little bit later with the GEM, but this one is pretty bad sometimes for predicting. You can see it's just to the northwest of Ireland there through the early hours of Monday, but my midday is quite developed, 988 millibars, sat right over the northwestern portion of Scotland, so like the Isle of Skye, northwestern Isles, being really affected there. You can see the storm is positioned right over the top with the area of low pressure. As it clears through again, pretty strong winds for many parts of northern Scotland as it clears into the North Sea. Does look like we'll see some impacts. Finally, we'll have a look at the UK Met Office and the ECM. So next to the UK Met, that doesn't go out fully yet. If we look at the midnight run, see again, a little bit less developed with this one. Around midday on Monday, you can see it's just out to the west of the UK. Again, probably bringing some strong winds to the north of Ireland, and maybe to the western side of Ireland as well, the Republic of Ireland that is. And then many parts of Northern Ireland probably seeing some quite strong winds. But again, it's clearing through a bit later on in the day. This looks quite severe if this came off, I must say. 984 millibars at its core. You'd expect winds up to 80 miles an hour with this, really. 85 potentially. See the isobars are very tightly packed, indicating strong winds, particularly in the west, before it clears again out into the North Sea, and we maintain those strong northerly winds, particularly in the north, on the back edge of that low. Luckily, it continues to develop as it moves through, but you can see it is deeper as it moves into the Atlantic. But again, on the back edge, there could be some quite strong winds associated with that. And then we've got the ECM. Again, that low pressure moving to the north of Northern Ireland. There is some more certainty, as you'll see, to the north of Northern Ireland, but again, a bit closer to northern parts of Northern Ireland. So again, could be some strong wind gusts associated with that, so be aware. And then also on Monday at midday, you can see 988 millibars at its core, planted slap bang over the top of central Scotland there, central northern Scotland, moving into the North Sea, winds in from the northwest. It's a very wet and windy day. So, pretty good agreement that it will hit Scotland and possibly Northern Ireland. How does the UKV, the rain chart, compare? Well, here you go. So, again, at the moment, we've got a few patchy showers around. Not too much going on today, just a few patchy showers, particularly focused in the west, the northwest parts of Scotland, and further southwest as well, into the Midlands as well. Saturday, again, pretty dry day, not too much going on, just some thick cloud, could be a few isolated showers or patchy drizzle developing. Through Sunday, you can see a weather front moves through, very heavy rain from the west. That's moving through, bringing bouts of heavy rain, particularly to the west and the northwest of Scotland. Very heavy rain, expect some high rainfall totals there. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a warning issued with that for the early hours of Sunday. See some very heavy showers moving through the early hours of Sunday. By 7 a.m, that's clearing to the east, but some heavy rain, much needed heavy rain for central England there, northeast, extending northeastwards as far as southwest Wales. Also a few squall showers through Lincolnshire as well. If you look at the Cape for that, there's no thunderstorms, by the way. If you were interested, not really much thunderstorms there. Might be a rumble in the west, but that's probably about it. But then you can see by the early hours of Monday, about 12 a.m, on Monday, you can see that the storm Floris is beginning to arrive. See the centre of the low there. That's beginning to move through the country with that associated heavy rain. Could be really heavy as well. You can just see how it's positioned though, that the area of low pressure is moving through like this, and the rainfall is actually affecting the north more. The UKV run has it positioned slightly further north, which means that most of the heavy rainfall avoids the UK on this run. Not sure about that, but again, very heavy rain expected as it moves through on the front edge. For particularly the west and the northwest of England, and also northwest Scotland, the central, extending to the central belt. Expect some big rainfall totals there in a short space of time. Again, that clears through to the east, and then things turn drier. But if we look at not the Cape, if we look at the mean sea level pressure, you can see that area of low pressure. It's kind of hard to make out, but you can see it there. 988 millibars positioned over the north of Scotland. That's clearing through to the northeast, so you'd expect rainfall on its southern edge as well. And if you want to know the associated wind gusts with this run, then you can see my 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. I should say on Monday. This run has 70 to 80 miles an hour just out to the west, affecting northwest Scotland. So as that moves through again, it develops, so 70 to 80 miles an hour for central northern Scotland as well, into the northeast possibly, 50 to 60 miles an hour, even extending into central northern Britain, 50 miles an hour, quite widespread really, expected. But again, exact timings and exact time that this area of low pressure arrives is uncertain, and the devil is definitely in the detail. As you can see, that clears through, and it remains quite a windy day through Tuesday. Well, not too bad though, but you can see that on the back edge of that low on Monday, 70 to 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour just off the northeast coast of Scotland there, Aberdeenshire for example, seeing some quite strong gusts there. So definitely one to watch, I'd say. Watch this space. Exact timing again, very uncertain, and rainfall totals very uncertain, which is why the UK Met has issued a blanket yellow weather warning for wind, for northern Britain, I should say. So it says, Storm Floris, which is now being named, likely to bring a spell of unseasonably strong and potentially disruptive winds to northern UK on Monday into early Tuesday. Now, what I will say is that the positioning is quite well supported, but timing is not certain yet. You can see though, Storm Floris bring a spell of unusually windy weather for the time of year across the northern half of the UK, and the strongest winds most likely to occur across Scotland during Monday afternoon and night. Although there remains some uncertainty in the depth and track of Floris. Yeah, well, the depths The depth, there is variability, so if obviously if it's more intense, if it's more developed, it will produce stronger winds, so that is something to watch out for. The track is pretty certain to go to the north of Northern Ireland through northern Scotland, really, and as it passes through into the North Sea. So across the Western area, many inland areas are likely to see westerly wind gusts of 40 to 50 with 60 to 70 miles an hour possible along exposed coasts and high ground, especially Scotland. There's a chance for a spell of even stronger winds developing for a time. Inland gusts of 60 to 70 and 85 miles an hour along exposed coastlines and hills, and winds will first ease in the west during later Monday but remain very strong overnight. Heavy rain could also be a factor. That is still a little bit uncertain, but if we're going to see some heavy rain, probably in the northwest is the most likely bet, and also Northern Ireland as well could see some heavy rain. So a lot of uncertainty about it, I guess, with the rain and the timings. But yeah, basically that one extends into Tuesday as well, as it's clearing away. Could still be associated rain and wind gusts. But yeah, I just thought I'd take the opportunity to have a look at the name Storm Floris for you all today. If you found this video informative, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. I do appreciate all of your continued support, and I'll see you all in the next one. Send it out.